Welcome to Interludes with Chris Mackenzie. And more joys, joy upon joy, because we have Ernie Bourne back again in the studio. You are a gem to keep coming rushing in, you know.
Yes, it serves you right. No, I'm enjoying this. It's great fun.
It's been fun, isn't it?
Yes, and all your lovely listeners. I mean, goodness gracious me.
I know.
How lucky am I?
Yes, you are indeed. You've got a cast of thousands out there listening.
Yes.
Well, a couple of thousand
speaking
anyway.
to you, you're of Scots descent,
Yes,
aren't you?
yes.
Oh, that's terrific, yes.
Yeah, so it's
wonderful,
all,
yeah.
all open about it.
A haggis. What's a haggis exactly?
I don't think we need to discuss that. I want to talk about what you've been
doing. It's like
doing.
a meatball on the Wellington boot, someone told me.
Yes, I think that's putting it kindly.
I was telling you earlier that Sean Connery went to a Festival ball with his kilt upside down. He went as a shuttlecock. And Dolly Parton put a jumper on back to front and went as a camel. But,
listen,
but it's,
what about your life?
What about it? Oh, yeah. Oh, it's been terrific, really.
I know, but we've got you making a comedy of the desert song.
The desert song.
Yes. What after that?
Oh, what did I do after the desert song?
Well, something near anyway.
Well, I think I probably went back into television. I'm not quite sure. Yes, I think I did, because Godfrey Phillip, who was the instigator of me going into Thursday at 1, was starting a children's show down at Channel O, which it was in those days.
That's right.
And it was the Magic Circle Club.
Ah.
And he asked me if I'd like to go into it and play the villain, you see. Which was, I'm not really a villain, so
I was going to say,
no.
miscast.
Well, I wasn't. Miscast. I've met her, actually. She was quite natural. And, so we started off down there doing the show. We had an audience to start with children, but it didn't work that way, so they decided not to have an audience in, because we were videotaping the 5 half-hour shows in 2 days and really moving it along. Nancy Cato was the host of the show, and we had Colin McEwen and people like that doing it, you know, and there were lots of funny things happening around.
Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, it was good, because I was doing something that I like doing, and that's playing different characters.
Yep.
Or caricatures.
Yep. And
so as the stories came along that John Michael Howson was writing, then we'd had a chance to invent things, you know.
Lovely.
Like Papadello Kid. We were doing the whole thing was on the Mexican sort of thing, and I was walking along my knees with a great sombrero on, you see. So I decided I'd pop into the canteen like that, you know, which they didn't know what we were going to do every week. Every now and again we'd go into the canteen when it was time for, you know, a cup of tea, dressed differently, so that was a bit of fun. But we were all always up to sort of pranks and things, you know, which was good. And,
that's good. Did the kids see most of this or not?
No, they didn't.
What a pity.
Pardon me. Then when the show closed, we went down to the ABC, and it became Adventure Island. And we did all sorts of things. I mean, we did whole things on Robin Hood and shot some stuff up in the Sherbrooke Forest, and I played the part of Friar Tuck. And so I stood on the road and blessed all the trucks as they came past, which upset the drivers a little bit. And then when I came back to the studio, I came to face to face with 2 real nuns, and I thought, no, what do I say to these people? And I wasn't quite sure. Which reminds me of, hey, do you know the Pope has made a fortune out of his new book, The Pilgrim Progress? Anyway.
Listen,
there's a new pill on the market. Tell
me about Adventure Island. Now, stop wandering off.
All right. I'm sorry. I mean, it only weighs 2 tons. You roll against it, or you can't get in. So, Adventure Island was good fun. I enjoyed that. He's holding his head in shame there.
No,
don't worry
there's
about
a problem.
like
there's an onset of giggles.
I'm making a bit of noise with this piece of paper, and I mustn't do that.
Yes,
I keep forgetting it's
I want to know something
So
else
anyway,
that you were famous for.
Adventure, well, we did 4.5 to 5 years with that, and then the
Do
show.
you get
the show-
bored when
the
you're in
show
something for that long?
Not really. It was very quick. You know, I mean, we used to videotape on Sundays and Mondays, and we start at 6 o'clock in the morning and go right through to 6 o'clock at night, and that was the way the show was done. And I mean, sometimes they'd say things like, you know, Guffey would say, look, we need a minute and a half. Could you add a minute and a half there? And I'd say, oh, all right then. And your mind would go in gear, and you say, look, have you got a sound effect of a lion roaring up there? And he said, yes. I said, when I open that door, the lion roaring, when you close the door, shut it off, and my out cue will be so and so and so. And that's the way we worked it.
All
So
right.
when I came along, I opened the door, and there's a lion roaring, and I'd say, get back, get back, get back, shut the door. I must do something about those mice. Anyway. So the crew didn't know what was happening, because the thing about it was that they were very creative. Everybody was creative in the show because it was happening so quickly, and that was the success of it. It was shot loose, and we were allowed to go. I mean, Liz Harris went out one day, I remember, because we used to do this thing when you're working hard. Have a little bit of fun now and again, just breaks up the monotony.
Yeah.
Not monotony, but, you know, the tension. And she went out to powder her nose, and she'd been gone a long time, so they swung all the lights round to the door, and the cameras were put round to the door, and then when this person opened the door, this da 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 da, date with all this huge music and everything. Oh, it was quite funny. If you'd been there, it's quite funny. No, but it's good fun. It was good fun doing that, and I enjoyed it. I think the thing is that the reason it was taken off, pardon my French, that it was something to do with between Sydney and Melbourne, one of those things, you know. Because it was a successful show here in Melbourne, and you know, I mean, the thing is that it should have been kept going, but
Good, of course.
You know.
Music.
What? Oh, okay.
Shine on Harvest Moon.
Oh, yes, darling.
Can we sing along to that?
Yes, we can.
But not on air.
Not on it? Oh,
No,
why?
okay, right.
Let me see.
Let's go.
So you could hardly see. The moon refused to shine. Couple sitting underneath a willow tree. For love they pined. Little maid was kind of afraid of darkness, so she said, I guess I'll go. Boy began to sigh, looked up at the sky. On the moon, his little tale of woe. Outdoors and spoon, so shine on, harvest moon, for me and my gal. shine on. Can't you hear me calling? Shine on. Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum-bum, ba-dum-ba-dum-bum. Can't you see I'm feeling blue and it all depends on you? Oh, shine on, harvest moon. Oh, shine on. Oh, the nights are falling. Shine on. Bum, bum, ba-da-dum-bum, bum, bum, ba-da-dum-bum. Shine on, harvest moon for me, my gal.
Okay, now, but we're back, and we're going to talk about, was it Prisoners? Showboat. What would you like to talk about?
Well, going back to when I was doing Desert Song, I
Yep.
met my wife Claire, who's dancing in it.
Yep.
And we got married, and we both went into Showboat.
Oh,
and
lovely.
I played Captain Andy in Showboat.
Yeah.
And Orman Douglas, who was playing Joe, and he thought it was a good idea to shell peas when he was singing Old Man River, which
Yeah.
wasn't a good idea because when you're shelling peas tend to jump out of the pod
Yes.
onto the floor. you see.
Yes.
And the girls coming through doing the cakewalk, they were slipping and sliding all over the place, calling him a few things. But
can imagine.
one night, at the end of the show, the showboat itself was in two halves, and it was put on the side of the stage, and then they'd put in what they call a scrim, like a front cloth thing, and then bring it behind the scrim, lock it together, and then we'd all get on the showboat, and then they'd fly it out, and then the boat starts to move off as the curtain comes in as we're singing. you see.
Yes.
This particular night, someone hadn't locked this thing together, and I'm standing on the poop deck. I don't know why they call it that. There's the poop deck, the after end of the ship, as it were. And at the corner of my eye, I could see the front half of the ship moving, and we weren't. So I shouted out, "We're sinking! We're sinking!" Oh, God. I mean, what can you say when something like that is so funny? But
Did anyone catch on to what was going on?
oh yes, the audience were on it. They were laughing. They thought it was hysterical. To see half of the ship moving, and we just stayed there, as it were, in the water. But you were talking about Prisoner. Mm-hmm. I was working at Tiki and John's Music Hall restaurant.
Oh, were you? Right, okay.
Yeah, doing comedy and stuff there. In fact, I just come off stage one night, dressed up as a girl. I shouldn't be doing a lot of drag stuff in that show. I don't know why. And typecasting, probably. I don't know.
I would think, yes.
And I had to change quickly to get into an army uniform to rush down to go on to do a sketch. And when I got down, Vic Gordon said to me, "Are you going on like that?" I said, "Why?" He said, "You still got your high heel shoes on." Oh, okay then. So I had to race back upstairs and change. Oh my goodness me. So
Just as well as someone
Yeah,
shaking.
no, well, this is the way it went. I mean, I'm just sort of jumping about a bit here, but Salad Days, when I was doing Salad Days, and I played three characters in that. One of the characters was the Minister of Parks and Pleasures, and he was a real, rotten person. And then there's this boutique owner, which is big old nice, and I had a pair of bows on my shoes, and lots of rings and all that sorts of thing. And the other thing I played was the inspector of the police. And I had to change quickly from the boutique owner to the Minister of Parks and Pleasures. And when I came back, I said, "What's this? Playing music in the park? We don't allow this." And somebody looked down, and they were sort of nodding to me, and I looked down. I still had my rosettes on my shoes. I thought, oh, crikey. So what could you do? I mean, nothing, just carry on, But when I was going back to Tiki and Johnson, we were working there till late most nights, I'd get home about 12:30 and get to bed about 1 o'clock, and I'd get up at 6 and then go down to Channel 10 at Nuttawading and start working on Prisoner.
Really?
Yeah, I was doing that for quite a while, actually.
That's a big workload.
And sometimes we'd work all day taping at Channel 10, and then I'd go straight into town to do the other show.
Oh, my goodness me.
Well, actually, I was doing Noddy Goes to the Moon. This is one workload I had. I was doing Noddy Goes to the Moon. That was a pantomime at Her Majesty's Theatre. That was morning and afternoon. There was a play at St Martin's Theatre in the evening, which is 8 o'clock. On Fridays and Saturdays, I'd play morning performance at the pantomime afternoon performance, 5 o'clock play, and 8 o'clock play. So I did 20 shows a week for 6 weeks.
Good
And
grief.
I couldn't get out of bed on Sunday.
I can imagine.
I was so tired.
I can
But Prisoner
imagine.
was a good show to do. I enjoyed doing that. All the girls were great, and
Yeah.
they were,
It's very popular.
They were good fun. Well, there were some people came over from England, still showing it over there, aren't they?
Yes.
And
They are.
apparently one girl had her bedroom done up like a cell. And the press got to hear about this. And they knocked on the door, and the mother came out and said, "I'm sorry, she's in solitary confinement at the moment. She can't come out." I said, "You gotta be kidding." And the brother was just dressed up as a warder. He wouldn't let her out anyway. I thought, God, this is taking things a bit far. Don't you think, I mean,
It's
Neighbours
a
was
little
good.
over the top, that.
Well, Neighbours was good fun. I mean, we were, some of the things, because I played the part of, what the part? Oh, it doesn't matter. I played the mechanic in it. Rob Lewis, that's right, Rob Lewis. And I was standing outside the garage by the petrol pumps, and the elderly gentleman came along pushing a motor mower.
Yeah.
And I said, "How are you today?" And he said, "Fine." We're waiting, ready to shoot, And he said, "Could you fill her up and check the oil?" I said, "What?" He said, "The motor mower, could you fill her up and check the oil?" I said, "Do you do that very often?" He said, "Yes." So I went and asked him once. He said, "Yeah." He pushes the
Mower.
mower in, saves me carrying the petrol back home, which is a good idea, really, isn't it? Don't you think?
I think it's a bit pathetic.
Yeah, well,
Slightly, ever so slightly.
I couldn't sing that song, "I'll clean your windscreen, clean as a slate," and all that
No,
stuff.
no.
No, but that was good. That was good fun. But no, Neighbours was good, and we did lots of good work in that. Man of La Mancha was
Was that great?
oh yeah, that was the last show for Williamson's, 1976, and there was a funny thing happened in that. Actually, it seems to be always funny thing happens when I'm working. We were singing this song, at the beginning of the show, and there was a fellow with a mule's head on the front, a dancer, and his horse had a horse's head. They had their hands behind their back, and they were holding on to pieces of wood which were L-shaped with tails stuck in them, and then we'd sit on them and pretend that we were riding horses.
Oh, right.
And he'd sing, "I am I Don Quixote, the Lord of La Mancha," and I'd sing, "I'm Sancho, yes, I'm Sancho." This particular night, just as he was singing "Onward to Glory," and as he sang the word "go," the piece of wood that he's sitting on snapped, and he went down, going "go," as he's going down. Now, I kept my composure quite well, I thought, until my mule started to laugh. And that was the end of me. I started laughing as I giggled. And he said, "How now, Sancho?" I said, "Yes, sire." And he said, "Speak." I said, "I'm trying, sire, I'm trying." It was so funny. But he kept such a straight face. That's what made me laugh. I mean, it was so funny.
That was clever of him.
Of course it
It was
was.
more clever of him than you giggling.
Yes. Well, I mean, it does that, sometimes.
Okay,
But-
we're going to get... You can giggle again, but not... No, you can just love this next one.
All right, then.
String of Pearls
Oh, lovely.
with Glenn Miller.
I know.
Wow. You're not going to believe it, you know, but we were actually dancing in here.
Yes, and I was singing like I sing under the water, like. Every time it's like the Daleks. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
I thought you were sounding more like Jimmy Durante when you
I
had
was
that mug on your nose.
I was actually. Yeah.
Yes, I'm a great
he was
fan.
a funny man.
Wasn't he?
Do you know he said that if you got good strong legs, that's the what he thought.
Yes.
Don't look at me like that. You're looking at me a stranger, that tone of voice.
Yes.
And he said, if you got strong legs, it'd be good for comedy. And he used to, before he got up in the morning, he would lie in bed and do his bicycle things with his legs, because he thinks he had to keep fit, you see.
Well, he did. He lived for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't know how long. I can't.
I can't remember either.
Yeah. Now, listen, you did. There were a whole lot of these other things.
Oh, there's lots of
a great
things,
list. I mean, honestly,
yeah,
Matlock Police, homicide.
Yeah.
Were you being killed, or were you being a?
Well, actually,
What was the comic?
yeah,
what was the comic relief in homicide?
Well, there wasn't actually, when I come to think of it. I don't know why they cast me as a jockey once, which is, and I told them I never ride side saddle, so I think you made a mistake. Anyway, and I did that Bishop's Candlesticks at Channel 10, which Godfrey Phillip, we're going back to Godfrey Phillip, and we were going to do it in Limbo. And they had a fireplace. Limbo, that's all blacks and things, you know. They had a fireplace, which was made of wood, and a cauldron underneath. And I was playing Jean Valjean. And I came in and the bishop said, "My son, sit down by the fire and warm your hands. I will be back in a bit. Leave me alone, because I could steal the candlesticks, you see." So as I'm acting silently and rubbing my hands and putting them by the fire, and I thought, gee, that fire seems to be burning up a bit. It's getting bigger and bigger, and it's getting bigger and bigger. And then suddenly, and I shouted out, "Bishop, your fireplace has caught your fireplace on fire!" And the whole thing was burning. The mantelpiece and everything was on fire. I couldn't believe it. Yes.
Well, that wasn't exciting.
Well, it was, yeah, until all the sprinklers came in. That's it. Sort of dampened things a bit.
Yeah, but didn't it?
Yeah,
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well now listen. What a joy! I've really had a wonderful time. I think everybody here has, talking to you. One day in the future, maybe we can go do this again.
Yeah.
We'll wait for a little
while.
Look,
I just want to say that meeting you all, this is the joy of being in show business. For me, anyway, I've had a chance of meeting people like you and coming along and talking to your lovely listeners and the people I've worked with over the years. I've been very fortunate. The good Lord has given me a gift, and I'm deeply, deeply grateful. And what more?
You've had a wonderful life, really.
What more can you say? For
Nothing.
goodness sake, no.
Nothing. Thank you.
God bless.
God bless. You've been listening to Interludes with Chris Mackenzie.